I got a would you rather, Taylor. Would you rather? You would have to give you a year to train and prepare for this. You got to do one of these things. You've either got to free climb a pretty difficult free climb mountain. We're not going to El Capitan or anything, but this is going to be red level danger. Or you have to do some spelunking down in one of those cave systems where people have died and gotten trapped and all upside downing.
Can I have a guide in the spelunking?
Well, in your practice you can, but you'll have to solo spelunk when you actually go.
And I don't get to pick the location of spelunk.
I'll be picking the location.
Oh, and you're picking the mountain?
Yeah, it's going to be terrible either
You know
way.
what? I'm just going to live up that year. I'm gonna absolutely feast. At least I'll get stuck in the mouth of the cave, and then I can be immediately saved.
I won't fit.
Found a way out.
That's a good plan. That's a diabolical challenge, though.
I saw a clip just the other day where there's some cave system that people go down and crawl into and spelunk into, and before they'll let you go do it. Woody and I have gone ziplining before, and they weigh you first. Make sure you're not too heavy. Before you do this, they make you crawl through this 8-inch by 24-inch rectangle that's on the ground to make sure you can fit through the most narrow parts of this cave system you're going into.
Looks
8
terrible.
inches by 24 inches.
No
Nope.
chance.
No, not at all.
I don't want to throw stones, but I don't think Taylor gets his head through that thing. He's just stuck at
entirely sideways. I saw the video. There's a lady standing on top being like, next. I stand up and knock her off of it because it's stuck to my head like a helmet. Yeah,
See, I will take no for an answer, though. We'll grease you up. We'll grease you up like Tom Hardy. All right? We'll get the butter out, and we'll get you through that hole.
Even regular people, you'd have to take your helmet off to get through that hole. Your spelunking
people
helmet?
going through weren't wearing helmets. The people that I was watching demonstrate that they could go through it. They were all going through, and there was a little girl, and it was like, how does a man fit through that? The girl barely made it. It was terrifying.
My arms are getting a little sweaty thinking about crawling into a cave like that.
I mean, I get a little panicky, up under cars sometimes. I'm just up in there trying to reach a bolt, and I'm just kind of, can't breathe. Nope, gotta go.
The spelunking stuff is crazy because it's so for real. If you get stuck down there, it's not like they're like, oh, okay, oopsie doodles. Let's just make it bigger. We'll expand the cave a little bit and we'll get you out. No, you're cooked, baby. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's the end game right there. There's no easy way to rescue you from these places.
You just gotta hope you lose enough weight over the next course of over the next few days.
Yeah, but it does seem like but per your example, per your challenge though, with the cave, you at least got a chance if something goes wrong. Whereas if you fall off the mountain, you're just toast. You might could Rambo it into a pine tree or something and make it down, but more than likely, there's no margin for error on the mountain. Whereas at least spelunking, there's a chance you can wiggle out.
I look at it a little differently. You're absolutely right with everything you said. However, a mistake on the mountain gives instant, mostly painless death. A mistake in the cave could lead to long, prolonged suffering, and not only physical suffering, but absolute mental breakdown. Once you realize you were jammed in there and that panicky adrenaline thing hit and you started wiggling and hurting yourself, and then you ran out of breath because you're not going to be able to expand your lungs well and you're breathing your own CO2. When you run out of breath and you realize that there's nothing to do for it but sit here and breathe your own CO2 and slowly pass out. And then you wake up from being passed out, of course, because that won't kill you. And the terror wakes you up again. Fuck that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That you might be onto something there.
That would be horrible.
Feet down sounded pretty good after imagining being buried alive.
Yeah, and then I've read stories about it where, everybody knows that one where the guy thought he was going through a channel or a passage and it was really just a drop dead end, and they got the authorities and the spelunking police or whatever, the rescue team, and they're like, where is he? And it's we know exactly where he is. And it's okay, that doesn't help. We can know exactly where he is as he dies over the next 8 hours because he's going to have a heart attack because he's inverted for so long or whatever final way he died.
Something like
just
that.
Terrible. A lot of people spelunking is one of the extreme hobbies in Missouri, because I think we have like the most caves underground and shit. And I remember going, I don't know, you know how you always think you're some sort of demon, a spelunking demon. Yeah,
it's a hot rod. I heard it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my neighbor. He's got a loud motorcycle. Sorry about that.
Like almost every year, we would go on some field trip to a cave, and like the teacher and the guide would just be leading a bunch of like 7-year-olds through a cave, and they'd point out and be like, you know, like we were staying in the safe areas, going through big caves mostly, but on occasion to be like, and that over there, you know, it used to be a small hole that a 7-year-old could fit through, but it'd be like, can't go into places like that. You could get hurt and stuck. You know, people die in these caves. Anyway, that's stalagmite. And it would be like, this is just a chain between two like free moving movie line posts that you've placed in front of that. Like some ruffian kid rope might just go dive right through it.
Do they do the thing where they turn the lights out so you can see just how dark it is down there? Did they do that?
I hated that. Because we were like in line close enough that like I could reach out and touch the kid in front of me without even extending my arm, because they kept you so close on those field trips. And then the guide turned it all off, and it was a level of darkness that like I hadn't experienced until then. And you could immediately hear like the suddenly loud cacophony of everyone's breath, just like like all throughout it, and it was. He left the light on too long. I didn't like it.
I've done that a few times. We've been up to the caves in North Georgia and in the Tennessee mountains. There's a couple cave systems that are touristy you can go to. They do that thing to you, and your hand in front of your face makes no difference. You have no idea. It's complete. It's as dark as I've ever experienced. And then out in Texas, we just went down in some holes. That was really fun too.
But not even caves, just holes.
There's a hole in the ground. It's a cave system, but you access it by crawling. There's just a hole in the ground, like a manhole cover sized hole, like a sewer hole up in the mountains. And there's a emergency ladder, like a rope ladder with aluminum rungs that they threw down in it. And you just climb straight down. And when you land, you're in like a chamber that's about big enough to lay down in, maybe an 8-foot wide circle. And then you have to get on your hands and knees and crawl through a tunnel. And then about 6 or 8 feet through the tunnel, it opens up into a cavern that's as big as a house, like a house-sized cavern under the earth with like glow-in-the-dark scorpions and all sorts, the bones of everything that's ever fallen down in that hole since for 10,000 years or however long it's been there. Tons of little animal bones and tons of like weird worms in the soft earth that are eating whatever falls in there. It was awesome.
I'd be fine living the rest of my life above ground, but not too far, right in that sweet spot
where you gotta touch the ground.
Where you can touch the ground. Yeah.
I mean, I've done some caves kind of all over the world, but it's always been like touristy stuff. You know, like whether it's like floating down a river in Mexico or some place in Vietnam. I mean, really, volcanic caves, lava tubes, but it's all still like stuff that's been cleared for tourists. Like as far as just going like open mic night and just going exploring, like my fears always be like you go down some slope and it would just get like steeper and steeper and steeper. And then you just slide down and you just get like funneled somewhere and you're just stuck. Yeah. And no, thanks, man. There was a cave system where I grew up kind of in Northwest Georgia, called it Big Dan's Cave. And, people go in there and get drunk, whatever. And I was probably in elementary school, but some dude got lost in there and like, just, his flashlight batteries ran out, whatever. Dude gets lost. They can't find him. Cat's gone for like 5 days. And 5 days later, he crawls out from like under a rock in some farmer's field, like 20 miles away. like he had just been drinking just groundwater out of puddles and stuff, and just feeling his way along in the dark, and like out of some movie after like 4 days of darkness, and just feeling his way along. Dude saw a light, and it was just some like they didn't even know that was connected to the cave.
I want to see that movie. Out of the ground.
Exactly.
Why is there no like North Georgia Mole Man movie? Like that's one of our unsung heroes down here.
He was probably on probation or something. There's no telling. But but as like probably a fifth grader, I remember hearing about it and just thinking like, oh my God, like, how scary would that be just to be just fumbling along in the dark and having no idea if you were going the right way or like what was going to happen. But dude didn't give up though. Yeah, really.
You'd have to be shuffling your feet the whole time because you don't know if it's going to drop out from under you. Just
hellish.
Bumping your head over and over.
Ugh, no thanks.
caves suck.
No, thank you.
You know, we evolved out of those. But the first time you go in a real cave,
Chinese have it.
you understand like, oh, this is why ancient man were like cavemen and not like tent men, because even when it's boiling hot outside, it does feel pretty nice in there. It's like, oh, okay, they had something figured out. You would just have to find a cave with a distinct ending, not a whole channel for people to go back.
Yeah. But it's the underwater caves, though. That stuff, like you're like filled out like a life insurance policy, and that's literally like one of the things that, like, if you participate in cave diving, like your life insurance doesn't kick in.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
the scuba diving, and people like pushing their tanks along ahead of them, and
They take the tank off, and then they send the tank through the passage, and then they follow it because the passage was too small for a tanked man.
You gotta turn back. You gotta turn back.
No, thanks.
Cave diving
man.
seems more fun if it's big under there. You know, we're like, I don't want to be so close to the silt that it blinds me. I want to be above the dirt where I can see everything and enjoy the walls, the vibe, but not
But
the
there's
danger.
no margin
Yeah.
for error. Like that's
Yeah.
like, if this is your lifeline, and there's no backup. I suppose there isn't one of those James Bond-esque mini like put in your mouth kind of breathing. That we need to work on that technology. Why has no one done this?
A rebreather.
There is actually a little. I mean, it's not a rebreather, but there is like this little. It's like a little mini scuba tank that I've seen people carry. That's got like, I don't know, 10 minutes of air in it or whatever. Like just.
Okay.
I think those are primary for like if you run out of like if you're doing a decompression stop and you run out of time on your tank, like you can still kind of breathe enough to get up there. But
10 minutes. That's just long enough to ponder.
Pilots use them too. Like if they. Usually someone near you will identify that like the altitude, you're not smart anymore. You're not making good decisions. Your speech is slurred. So they'll breathe some normal air as they descend.
You remember in Spaceballs, they had that can of Perrier, you know, like Mel Brooks would like crack it open and just breathe out of the can. It was like their planet, they were using up all their oxygen. So they like the rich people had like cans of air they would drink. They would breathe.
Yeah, I'd rather
No,
skydive.
just like our water, it's the same as normal air. It's tap air.
So skydiving has
Tap
never
air.
seemed easier to me than in this moment after thinking about spelunking for a while, where it's like, man, you can see stuff. Like at worst case scenario, it's like, and then that's
Dude,
it.
next time we find ourselves together, we should totally go skydiving. That'd be fun.
Yeah, but we'll have to lead off with like a 40-minute conversation about spelunking.
What we'll do is I'll pretend like I'm totally down to spelunk with Woody, and they're like, "Come on, Taylor, spelunk with us. You gotta go." And I'm like, all right, well, if you're not gonna spelunk, could we at least skydive together? You'd be like, yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. Please let's jump out of a plane together. Like we've got our air tanks on.